Welcome back, everybody, to the Box Office Dynasty. I am Josh,
And I'm Jack.
and we're here with another episode on this fall day. On this day that maybe we can reach you. Apparently, everything's gone haywire in the world.
Yeah,
Thanks,
if this is even
Amazon.
if this is even recording.
Yes, if so, Earth or Box Office Dynasty to Earth. If we can reach you, if you're hearing us, our message. I feel like we're on the Voyager. You know what I mean? Like just like
Yeah,
trying to
we're
send
out
it
in
out.
space.
Yeah, right. But if you can get our message, we are here with another great episode of this show. We're in the middle of fall, so things are getting pretty spooky this month, and that's where we're kind of at. But first, we're going to pick a new Bible study film. This is always both of our favorite part of this segment cycle, so to speak. Hopefully we get something a little better than last time.
It'd be
So
nice to get like a Halloween themed movie.
that would actually, I agree.
That would
Like
be crazy.
something in that realm, whether it is horror or science fiction, or you know what I mean, just like
Yeah, that'd be a lot of
anything.
fun.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I didn't even think about that. That's a good point. We'll go over the box office numbers. Speaking of Halloween, we're going to talk about the new sequel, The Black Phone 2. Jack, I didn't think you were seeing this. I thought this was going to be a solo review, so I'm really glad that we're going to get to actually talk about it.
Yeah, bro, I got
You
you.
know what I mean? Like that was I saw your it pop up on Letterboxd. I was like, hell yeah! All right, we're
Yeah.
doing this. Uh, then we're just gonna talk about some other Halloween horror favorites this time of year that we both have. Just a chill little conversation. With that, I'm gonna talk a little bit about the upcoming show, It Welcome to Derry, coming out. And then Jack, we're gonna talk a little bit about the DC Absolute Universe. I don't even really know what the hell that is, but you're gonna inform me and everyone today.
Shit's crazy, bro.
Oh yeah, I'm ready for it to get pretty wild in here. So this is a great episode that we have here. How you doing now?
Dude, I'm doing good. Saw Black Phone 2, seeing everything in the news. Everything, I don't know, I just like the Halloween season, man. Like, I'm just excited
Fall is the
for,
best time of year.
yeah, weather-wise, 100%.
I just
And
think yeah.
I just love the vibes. So like I'm not a huge horror movie guy, and that's a lot of what today is, but I still like the vibes of it. So it's been a good time.
And even beyond like Halloween horror vibes, just the fall aesthetic is nice. I like you
Yeah.
said, the weather, but obviously the changing of the leaves and everything, like
Yeah,
just
man.
the vibes of going out, like pumpkin picking and different things like that, whatever. I don't know. It's nice. It's a great
Yeah.
time of year. I just
Love to
love
hear
it.
it.
Did you see, by the way, that they announced that they are making a new show in the Prison Break universe?
No way.
Yeah. I
About
knew
what?
you'd I knew this would get your attention. So
Yeah.
it's at Hulu and it's
Okay.
set in the same universe as the original show, but it focuses entirely on new characters. And so we got a little description. It says that it follows an ex-soldier turned prison officer working at one of the deadliest prisons in America to prove how far she'll go for someone she loves.
I wonder if she like loves someone in the prison.
You think,
Maybe.
is that maybe too close to the
Yeah,
original though when you
with
think about it?
the nurse Sarah
Yeah.
Tancredi.
Yeah.
Yeah, also, the best part about Prison Break is the characters, to be honest. Like, Michael Scofield escaping is the coolest part of that whole show and how smart he is. I don't think this is going to do well just based on how we see these kind of shows go, but I'll probably try and watch it, but I don't know. It doesn't seem too interesting.
I don't know if it's like the original creators. I didn't look that far into it
Yeah.
necessarily. I would assume not, right? Like I would think it's new people taking on the
Yeah.
universe.
They've been done for like 10 years.
But like, if well written, you can get more interesting characters and tell an interesting story. The only thing I want to say about this that I have a problem, I guess, that I think you would kind of agree as well, is that why does it need to be the Prison Break universe? Why can't it just be its own
That's what I was
like
going to say.
original thing? Like it feels like you're just slapping an IP onto,
Yeah. The
like
Prison Break
onto
universe
a
is just
story.
a regular world. Like
Like
there's
it's just a
nothing.
war. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Like, unless it has something to directly do with those characters, then it's just a regular, yeah, it's just a regular prison. Like, that's what it is.
I feel
Unless
like
there's
I,
cameos and stuff, which of course there will be.
I don't even know. I mean, probably, but I feel like I would say even less so. It'll just be references to like other prisons or
Yeah.
events.
Yeah,
You
like
know
The
what I
Company.
mean?
You remember The Company?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
this
yeah.
that reminds me of Suits and then Suits LA that came out. And the
Didn't that
whole
get canceled?
I'm pretty sure it lasted one season.
Yeah.
And the whole time people were like hoping for a Suits character to show up in Suits LA, and then spoiler alert, Harvey Specter shows up, people lose their fucking minds. And then he leaves after 3 episodes and nobody cares again.
Yeah.
And that's the
No.
problem with throwing the name on there.
I know, because then it just kind of muddies it as a franchise. Like it makes it
Yeah.
a you know what I mean? Like it's because it's making it that.
Yeah.
And now it's giving it dead weight to what was just a standalone great show.
Yeah. That was a great
Um
show.
it was. I loved it. So, you know, I mean, we'll see. I'll probably check it out just because it
I'll
has the
try
name on
it.
it. Like
Yeah,
that's what they're
exactly.
doing.
That's
They're
what
trying to get. They're trying to reel us in.
And they got us, dude. We're hooked.
They got us. We took the bait. That's
We
the
did.
problem. We're the little minnows, but
Yeah,
we
bro.
took the fucking bait.
Yeah, dude. And I'm down. I want to see what it's about.
All right. Looking forward to that. Also shout out Ace Frehley, dude. I didn't have like a full tribute for him. I didn't have time to do that, but shout him out. You see that? The dude, the lead guitarist of Kiss,
Yeah, he's dead as
passed
hell.
away. Yeah, man. What the hell, dude? This year is like crazy.
There's something in the water in Hollywood or wherever they live, you know? Like,
Dude, like David Lynch, Val Kilmer, Gene Hackman, Diane Keaton, Robert Redford. What the hell?
Gene Hackman was this year?
Yeah, that was this year.
Ah.
Yeah, I had to double check. I was like, I'm pretty sure it was this year.
Wow. Yeah, everybody's dead this year.
Michael Madsen, dude, Ozzy Osbourne, crazy. It's
Your favorite celebrities, everyone watching this? Hold them close. They might be next.
and if you are the celebrity, like, watch your back. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
man.
watch out. There's a serial killer on the
The
list.
Grim Reapers are coming around.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on from that way too lighthearted version of a tribute, but it was
died.
true. You know what I
Someone
mean?
did die.
Like, it's crazy. Let's pick a new Bible study film, shall we?
Yes, sir.
So basically how this works is you all comment numbers on the social medias and everywhere and whatnot, and they range from 23 to 1265. I've kind of memorized it by now because
Yeah,
we've done
man,
this
me
long
too.
enough, so I'm like, all right, yeah, that's the numbers, I'm pretty sure. Comes out of our film Bible, which is actually the New York Times' Book of Movies Essential 1,000 Films to See.
Right there.
And we watch the corresponding film in the film Bible that was picked by you, and then we'll talk about it. We've done like 8, I think, so far.
Something like that. And to be fair, we haven't really loved many of them, so I'm hoping to get something
No,
good this time.
you haven't loved many
You've
of them.
only liked like 2 of them.
Maybe half, I would say, like genuinely. Hold on. Actually, that you mention it, I would say I out of 8, I liked 4 of them a pretty decent amount.
Okay, all right. I think
And
I liked
the other
2 of
4,
them.
I was like, you know.
Yeah, I think I gave 2 of them above a 6 out of 10.
I gave 2 of them. No, not 2 of them. Out of a 6 out of 10. Oh, I gave 6 of them, above that. So
Yeah, all right.
yeah, and one was a 6 out of 10.
So let's
Anyway,
spin this
so let's
wheel
see.
and find out
Let's
what
see
we're
what the
watching.
9th one is that's joining today, folks.
Spinning that wheel.
Oh, it's going. I'm nervous. No way. No way. No way. Is it going to cross the line? Oh, dude. All right, I'm going to tell you what it just was going to be until it inched over the line again.
What?
It was going to be 69. To all
Dude,
the people
finally.
who always comment that.
We've gotten
No,
that
it's
comment
not.
50,000
It's not.
times.
It's
I know,
not
but
69.
shit.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's what I'm
okay.
saying. That's what it was about to be. That's why I was like, oh, okay. It's close, and it's kind of close to 69, though. It is going to be 110. Just for anyone, see, 110.
Yeah, I see what it is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what do we got?
We are watching, in my case, rewatching, Being John Malkovich.
Yeah.
Have you seen this? Do you know what this is?
Is that the movie where everybody is John Malkovich?
Pretty much.
Okay. I think I remember we were roommates when you were watching it, I think.
Yeah.
I think you watched it like junior year or something.
I watched it, according to Letterboxd, August of 2020. like late August. So like
So we
August,
might have
like we
been,
might have just moved back in.
and that would be junior
That
year. Yeah.
that would be junior year. Um, yeah, this I'm obviously not going to get into it now. We'll get into it in 2 episodes. But this is a really like thought-provoking film and just totally abstract and experimental kind of filmmaking and
Okay.
narrative storytelling. In terms of my actual opinions, I'll get into it in 2 weeks. I'll
In the
rewatch it because it's
review, yeah.
obviously been 5 years
Yeah,
since
yeah.
I've seen the film, but I do remember it very well. Actually, this one, this is a fun film. This I think is going to turn the tide for you finally
Alright,
with this
alright.
segment, and I'm going to make a prediction that just because of how you felt about the rest of them, that this will be your favorite.
Yeah, I kinda can predict that already,
You know
honestly.
what I mean? So this is a fun movie. John Cusack, Cameron Diaz, and of course John Malkovich, directed by Spike Jonze. I'm looking forward to that in 2 episodes.
Cool. So
Thank
we're
you to 110.
yeah, we're watching, Being John Malkovich, and make sure you guys comment more numbers for next time.
Yes, please do, because next time it could be yours.
I think it was my brother that put 110, if I'm being honest.
Really?
Yeah, shout out him.
I took a sip of water, but shout out Jack's brother, aka 110.
Yes, sir.
Well, speaking of numbers, we're going to talk about numbers that aren't commented but are purchased, and that is the box office numbers. And these ones in particular will be those of the weekend of October 17th through the 19th. I'm going to say up front that this has kind of been a slow month.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
not a lot of big releases. So let's get into it a little bit. There's a little to talk about with it too this week.
Yeah,
But
October is
first,
sandwiched, you know? November has a lot, and then, September had a decent amount.
yeah, but usually I feel like sometimes October. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, just
I
for
guess
this
you get
year so far.
the horror. Yeah, this year you're right though. I mean, upcoming you're gonna have November and December will have huge holiday releases this year, as they always do. Anyway, this past weekend, though, in fifth place, making $3.7 million in its second weekend of release, is Roofman.
That's my shit.
That is your shit. In fourth place, in its fourth weekend of release, making $4 more million, is One Battle After Another. I want to stick on this one for a second with you, Jack, because it was really cool about One Battle After Another, is that this movie is likely going to cross $200 million in its final run. It is at 162 and a half right now.
I mean, wasn't the budget like 130 million or something?
The film would need 300 million to break even technically, but this still is a massive success for the studio and the film. And let me put it to you this way, real quick. Think about it like this: a movie like Minecraft, and we're sitting here, we're like, oh my God, this made $1 billion. How the hell? A movie like that is insulation that allows studios to take on movies like One Battle After
Yeah,
Another.
they can lose out on some money because they made so much with Minecraft, you know?
Exactly, and elsewhere. And Warner Brothers, as we've talked about on this podcast, has had a really good year financially, a record breaking year in some regards. So, um, you know, even though it would still be like a loss technically, this is a win when you think about what we talked about with Paul Thomas Anderson, and not necessarily his films ever being profitable. This guy is making his first not $100 million movie, but now potentially $200 million movie. And that is off of a, like, how long is this movie? Almost 3 hours.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
I
like
don't think it's quite.
245.
Yeah. um that's like the power of cinema, and from a financial standpoint, that insulation there, I think, gives it a larger context and perspective. So I don't know. I think, yeah, part of it being in the top 5 is the slow weekend, but the fact that it's lost out on IMAX screenings and is still doing well when it
Uh-huh.
was an IMAX distributed film should be considered a positive, in
Yeah.
my opinion. I just wanted to highlight that in this segment. In third place, in its opening weekend, making $6.2 million, is the new Keanu Reeves film, Good Fortune. I think this is actually directed by Aziz Ansari.
Yeah, it is.
Seth Rogen's in it too. It looks pretty
It
interesting.
looks fun. It looks
Yeah, it
fun.
looks fun. I don't know if I have time right now to see it, but it's a movie that I definitely want to watch.
Yeah, me too.
In second place, something that I'm going to come back to after we round out the box office, making $11.1 million in its second weekend of release, is Tron Ares. And we definitely got to talk about this for a second. We'll come back to Tron Ares. And in first place, in its opening weekend, making $26.5 million, which is a pretty big success for this film, is Black Phone 2. But let's come back to Tron Ares for a second, because we got the news that Disney is pulling the plug on the franchise from the movies for good. Well,
So,
as far as anything could be for good.
like, from the theaters, you mean?
Like, they're no longer going to make theatrical movies for Tron. They're not going to do anything in that
Fine
franchise
by
anymore.
me.
It's dead. And so the only future that Tron really has is potentially some kind of Disney Plus special or something down the road, or existing similarly to the way Pirates of the Caribbean has existed for Disney for a while, and that's more so in a theme park capacity than a screen capacity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think Tron is. I mean, it's been a dying franchise. Like, I think they might be making the right decision here.
I just think it's interesting because this is the third installment of the franchise. It earned $60.5 million on its opening weekend, which obviously we know was far below its expectations, with a $250 million budget. That does include marketing, to be fair. But still, I mean, it probably, actually most certainly won't be hitting that number.
No.
So they consider this a quiet retirement of the franchise, but it's an interesting trend that I wanted to point out to you about Jared Leto, the leading man behind this.
Is
That you
this not
talked
what
about a
we
little
said
bit.
last week, right?
You did, and now it's interesting to kind of put it in the perspective now with this news that we got that they're quietly retiring the franchise. Look at this history that Jared Leto has as a franchise actor. Earlier in his career, when he was more of a supporting actor in more indie artsy kind of films, he has talent. He was able to display kind of range in that background. But look at this history of big studios throwing money behind him as a leading man. The DCEU puts him as a big named character as the Joker. The franchise is killed. Now, again, we're not going to say it's entirely because of Jared Leto, but things like that drive people away. Sony's Marvel Universe, Morbius, Jared Leto, that's a big bomb. Obviously, it wasn't the last of it, but that was the big bomb that kind of indicated that this franchise probably was not going to recover.
Yeah, 100%.
Then Tron adds Jared Leto. He's the leading man of the third film, the sequel to the long-awaited 2010 entry, which was, I think, Tron Legacy?
Yeah.
Whatever. And immediately they're pulling the plug, and it's a massive bomb. I just think it's an interesting trend of, like, I'm not going to sit here and put Jared Leto on a pedestal right now. I'm not defending him either. But in terms of a purely business standpoint as entertainment and his career, how should Hollywood use him moving forward? I think we've learned the lesson that we shouldn't be throwing money behind him as the leading man behind big franchises.
Yeah, it's interesting that you started with the DCEU, because I was thinking when you started talking about franchise killer, I think this all started with the Suicide Squad and with the behind the scenes that we got of the Suicide Squad. Of course, people hated him as the Joker. He was a terrible interpretation of the Joker. But besides that, like, you could get past that, okay? It's not really him, it's the writing, it's the script, or whatever, it's the directing.
Oh, I'm sure it's more than just him, yeah.
Exactly. But when you find out the cast and the crew are talking about how Jared Leto was in character the whole time, and he was method acting the Joker, and he was delivering dead rats to Margot Robbie's trailer because that's what the Joker would do to Harley Quinn, I think that turns a lot of people off from him as a person, and I personally don't care about his acting at all. I don't love it, I don't hate it, whatever. I'll see a movie with him, I won't, blah, blah. But well, I would have seen a movie with him, but the only reason I don't want to now is that I've just heard all these horror stories from people who have worked with him that he's not only a bad person, but he's just a fucking weirdo. And like that to me is the reason why I don't see Jared Leto movies because I'm just like this guy's a fucking psycho. I don't want to support him.
Yeah. No, totally. And that makes sense, and like it's just I don't even know. It's crazy to me, like how they keep doing this over and over again, and like people in the industry keep continue to work with people like this over and over again because to them it's the paycheck at the end of the day.
Yeah.
They're doing a job, and it's the same thing in any other industry. People will ask it in sports. How could someone do like so and so hurt someone, domestic abuse or something, and then just go back to playing? It's the same thing. They don't care because it's the business is making the money at the end of the day. The problem now is now that they're not making the money, they're starting to learn the lesson. Lost Disney spent $220 million. They're gonna you know how much they're gonna end up losing? $132.7 million lost in this movie.
Don't pick Jared Leto, guys. Like and it's interesting because I say I don't watch Jared Leto movies because I don't like him as a person, but also they're not good. Like that's just the fact that these movies aren't good. We're talking Suicide Squad, we're talking, Batman vs Superman,
Tron,
Morbius and
Tron
Tron.
Ares.
And
Yeah.
they're just not good movies. So I don't it's already not an incentive for me to watch it. But people kind of feel the same way about like Tom Cruise. They're like he's not a good person, he's weird, Scientology, he's a bad dad, he's a bad husband, blah blah blah. I kind of agree with a lot of that stuff, but I still am gonna go see a Tom Cruise movie because they're awesome. So there's a balance of like if he was making good movies, maybe I could get past that he's a fucking creep, but I can't because his movies suck. Tom Cruise, I can get past all the weird personal shit because I like his art. I like the stuff he makes.
I think it's very easy for myself included even to take moral high grounds about issues, but the reality that comes to our intake of entertainment and anything else is that it's a giant gray area. Like
Yeah,
there
exactly.
are certain boundaries of how talented you could be at whatever it is you do, and then
Yeah.
also how bad it is of a thing that you have done, or the bad of a person that you are, or whatever it is, in that realm. And then like we all come up to our own justified reasons of whether we'll take in that person's work or not. And you see eras of that where people like say, oh, I'm going to boycott this person's work, and then it either moves on or doesn't depending on what allegations or this or that happen. So I just think what I'm trying to say is like we're all a little hypocritical about it in the end.
100%. I
You know what
mean,
I mean? And again, there's boundaries. We have our boundaries, but
your talent and finish your talent and your finished product determine what you can get away with. And I think Disney is realizing that Jared Leto's finished products and his talent are not worth it for how people view him and what he makes.
yeah. Yeah, no, I don't think he can keep getting away with it with these losses.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And especially because it seems like every movie, like you pointed out, that he does has the same issues where they point out the weak storytelling and the lack of a vision around what they're doing with this franchise. And so beyond just Jared Leto and his personal issues, him as a creative, it seems like it doesn't work. So that's the lesson to be learned. I wanted to highlight that because neither of us are huge into Tron. I only saw the original one and I did not like it.
I've never seen any of them, so
Yeah, so I never saw Legacy. I'm not seeing Ares. But regardless, it is a franchise that there is a bunch of fans out there. I respect people who do enjoy Tron. Not everything's going to be for everyone. It is for some people out there. And so, it is unfortunate for them to see this happen to a franchise that there is a lot of people out there who love it. I do want to give it that kind of a spin as well because it's true. But moving on, in first place, like we said, was Black Phone 2. Speaking of something turning into a franchise, so we're gonna get into this. It's gonna be we're always like, yeah, a quick episode, and then we're gonna fucking
we
actually
have a
beat
lot
each
to
other up.
talk about. We do.
But I will say, in terms of a financial standpoint, this is I think close to, if not more than the original made in its opening weekend. So clearly that desire for, you know, horror in general, especially this time of year, is out there. You know, and I think especially for a horror film, $26.5 million is a pretty good opening weekend domestic. So congratulations to Blumhouse, Ethan Hawke, Black Phone 2 for winning the box office weekend. Just, you know, from that perspective of things.
Before we get into our ratings and reviews of the Black Phone 2, I saw so we have each other on Letterboxd. I try not to read your reviews because I want to be like surprised with what you say. But I saw like the first sentence of it, first couple sentences. Did you, because I also did you have a bad experience in this theater?
Yes,
I had
absolutely.
one of the worst. So tell me yours. How was your theater
And
experience?
this time I did my absolute best to detract it from my rating,
Me
because
too.
in the past I've let it affect that, and that's not fair. That's not really professional. It's not the movie's fault. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
right.
I'll acknowledge that I may need to rewatch it, but like I try my best. I'm not saying it doesn't impact it, just anyway, to put that out there.
When I saw that, I was because I had a shit experience too that I'll tell you after, but I just
Yeah.
can't. I was like, holy shit! Both of us on the same day in two different states had the shit experience in the same movie.
And every time that I have a shitty experience in a movie theater, it's horror movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
I I don't understand personally how I get ID'd for A-list for the stupid policy,
yeah.
you
Me
know, to
too.
get into these movies. But then these kids can get in who probably, like, I don't even think are old enough to be there anyway. And they're, you know, at first they're just like, it's very like small whispers, whatever, at the beginning. You know, like, I'm on the opposite side of the theater. You know, I'm sitting like kind of towards the back on like the, like, if you're facing the screen, on the left side, and
Okay.
they're all the way towards like on the right side, a few rows down from me.
Was it
um
teenagers?
nah, they had to be like preteens. That's what I'm saying,
What?
dude. That's the point I'm trying to make. That how am I getting ID'd for the A list to get into this
Yeah.
movie?
Well,
I
maybe
come to
they.
this theater
I
often,
mean, they must have snuck in. Like,
I
they
guess,
tried to buy a ticket for a different movie and then go in there.
but I would assume, but hear me out. So they're making a lot of noise and everything. They're laughing. For some reason, they think it's hilarious every time the phone rang. Like, the movie's
Oh,
called Black Phone 2. What the hell did you expect? Of course the phone was gonna
there's a
ring in the
phone in
movie.
this movie.
There's a phone in the Black Phone movie?
Holy shit!
Holy shit. Like, whatever problems any of us have with the movie, it can't be that the phone was ringing. That's the
Dude,
most ridiculous thing I think I've ever
zero
heard.
stars. There's a phone in this
There's a
movie.
phone in the movie that won't stop ringing. Duh, it's the Black Phone 2. So they like kept laughing, and it was like they were talking so loud and like screaming at each other, so people were like shushing, and I like try not to get involved, whatever, you know, I'm keeping to myself. But after a while, almost like pretty much the whole theater was like united in shushing them at the same time
That's
and
funny.
screaming. And at multiple times, this is what I was going to get to, multiple times an AMC worker came in and had to talk to them and didn't make them leave the theater.
Wow.
I couldn't believe that, because people definitely got up to complain. I
That's also
saw a
so
couple times.
distracting.
It
Just even
was,
the
it
worker
was.
coming in is distracting.
It is, because especially because they kept coming in and out. It was a few times, and then like she came back in. She's like, "Let me see your tickets." She looked at the tickets. They must have had tickets, because she
Damn.
didn't make them leave. Like, I don't know what happened. I think at some point, like, someone sat down like to make sure that they shut up. Like, I'm pretty sure, but I was far enough away and it was dark. Obviously, it's hard to tell. And I'm trying to pay attention to the movie. But yeah, it was an awful experience. And I've always said this, that I think, especially it's, you know, preteens and younger kid.
Sorry.
Holy shit.
Sorry.
Bless you, man.
Thank
Hey,
you.
it's the changing of the temperature.
God bless.
But anyway, as I was saying, I always think that it's like kids and like the preteens and people who are not mature enough to handle these kinds of movies come in and they react that way through the film, because, and I guess it can be immature adults too, but like people do that are doing it because they are too afraid of letting the film make them feel afraid. You know
Yes,
what I
they have
mean?
to make jokes every 5 seconds
They're
to make them
trying, they're
feel good about it.
trying, they're trying to break the tension of the atmosphere so that the film cannot actually achieve in scaring them or even making them feel like unsettled or anything.
Did
And it's
anything work?
awful.
Did they stop? Like,
That's what I think. I think someone sat like with them
dude,
and made them shut up and then escorted them right after the movie out of the theater.
watching this movie made me dislike kids so much. I got to the theater with my friend and we walk into our theater, Theater 17. We go in and there's a woman in my seat with a 5-year-old kid next to her. And then I look around and there's, in the whole row, there's a bunch of adults with children under the age of 10. I go, holy shit, this must be the wrong movie because people in my seat, there's little children here. That's weird. It's like a woman, her son, an empty seat, a dad, his 5, 6-year-old son, and then a mom and her like 8-year-old daughter, something like that. I was like, okay, that's gotta be, we're in the wrong movie. We're in a kid's movie. We go out, we check, nope, this is the right theater. I come back in, I go, hey, like you're in my seat. So she moves over. So now I'm sitting next to the kid and he's here to watch the Black Phone too. So are all the other kids. So we're watching the movie, and every time anybody showed up on screen, he turns to his mom and goes, "Who's that?" Every fucking time. I'm hearing this kid go, "Who is that?" She goes, "That's the bad guy." And he goes, "Why does he look like that?" She goes, "I don't know. Just watch the movie." And then a dead kid shows up on screen. He goes, "What's that?" "Oh, I don't know. Just watch the movie." The scene where she's looking under the bed and it's all dark, he goes, "What's under the bed?" And I'm hearing this the whole movie. So thankfully, next to my friend, there was an empty seat. So I moved over. So I was like a couple seats away from him eventually. But I legit had to move away from this kid because he wouldn't stop talking. And it's not on him. I mean, why is his mom taking? He's at most 7 years old. Why is she being taken? Why is he being taken to see this movie? First of all, and to top it all off, with teenagers, 2 rows behind us, teenagers are taking photos with their flashes on of the screen.
Yeah, I never understand why people do that.
Every like 10, 15 minutes, the flash would just go off, and it happened like 3 times. And people were getting so mad. The person next to me literally was like, if it happens one more time, I'm going over there and shoving the phone down their throats. I was
Did
like,
anyone
holy
ever
shit.
say anything?
No, not that I know of. They stopped after like the 3rd time. But again, like, why am I in a movie theater with teenagers who are, by the way, giggling the entire time, nonstop giggling, girls in the back, taking photos, giggling, putting their flashes on, and then little children at this rated R movie asking his mom a million questions. What is happening that we're experiencing this? Where is movie theater etiquette? Why are you
Yeah.
bringing your kid here? It's like bringing your kid on a plane. Like, you can't, just make sure your kid doesn't cry. Take care of your kid. Like, she wasn't telling him to stop. She was just being like, I don't know. Oh, that's him. That's him. She wasn't saying shut the fuck up. Like, I just don't get it.
Yeah, and the movie, I mean, isn't it rated R?
It's
Like
rated R. They say fuck a lot. The amount of gore in it is crazy.
I mean, I know that there are certain laws, like I think with PG-13 you can go to the movie with parental guidance, and if you're under 13, and I think with rated R, if you're like a 17, 16, they let you in with like a parental advisor, whatever. But like that youngs, you know what I mean? How are you allowing people to bring your kids into that theater? Like, beyond the parents who should be responsible, and I am also going to call them out, like, you shouldn't be bringing your kids to a movie like that at that age.
Yeah.
But and like, no one's going to tell you what to do at home, but you're out in public. This is not the kind of movie to be bringing. You don't know how your kid, or maybe you do know how your kid's going to respond, but other people are here to see the movie, talking on your phone and taking pictures of the screen and doing all that. Like, people are like, think about earlier in the year with Minecraft with the chicken jockey stuff
I
and all
know.
this stuff. Like, people thought that was funny. No, it wasn't. Is that funny to the underpaid like teenage workers that work
I
there
know.
that
They
have
make
to clean it
$15
up?
an hour. Like, come on, dude.
Yeah, like barely making minimum wage, to have to clean that up. It just, to me, feels really unacceptable. And like, as much as we encourage that people go to the theaters and enjoy those outings, there is, like you said, theater etiquette and a level of, just kind of respect for the space, public space, that people sometimes don't have. And it makes for these unfortunate outings like that we both had with Black Phone 2. And it sucks because, well, I enjoyed the movie, and like, even if you don't, you just want to be in a space where you can like actually watch the movie truly as it's intended, and that's not with all these distractions.
Right, like, teenagers, it's one thing because, I mean, they're teenagers, they're gonna be assholes, like, that's just what they do, but then you have a kid who's with his mom, like, what are you doing as a parent? First of all, the kid had seen the first one, because the kid was like, "Is that the guy from the last movie? Oh, is that girl in the last movie?" So, I'm pretty sure he's seen it, 'cause he was like, "They look different." When the dad came on screen, he was like, "The dad looks different." So, he's seen the first one. Why is your kid watching these movies? He had to be younger than 7 years old. There was no way he was like he was like 2 feet tall, like, I just don't understand it. I was gonna
I
say
try
half
not
my
to
size,
judge.
and he's 2 feet
I
tall.
try not. That's
I was gonna
crazy.
say half my size. He's less than half my size.
You're really selling
I
yourself
know,
short
I'm
there,
4
huh?
foot 1, actually.
Selling yourself, yeah. Um, no, but I mean, like, I try not to judge. Like, people, you're raising your kid, you can do what you want. Like, God knows I watched some kind of movies and things when I was younger. Like, I watched a bunch of Family Guy younger than I probably should
Yeah.
have
Oh,
been allowed
100%,
to,
yeah.
or played GTA younger than I probably should have, things like that. So, like, who am I to judge? It's just more about the theater etiquette of the space, like teaching your children, trying your best. I mean, when they're that young, it's hard, but trying to teach your children, if you're going to take them out, to not talk throughout the whole movie when you're next to people, things like that. Or if you're a teenager, like, yeah, teenagers will be teenagers, but they got to learn the lesson. When you're in public, when you're in a movie theater, like, you got to be quiet and respectful and not taking pictures, certainly with the flash on. I
Crazy.
mean, you know what I mean? So I just, it is important, I think, and I'm glad you bring that up, because we both did have those experience watching this, when we just wanted to watch the movie. So
So we're gonna try not to I think we're both gonna do pretty well. We're not gonna let those experiences affect our ratings.
I don't think it should. It's not fair.
It's not, and so we're gonna review and rate The Black Phone 2. How do you feel about spoilers? Do you wanna keep it spoiler free, or you just wanna jump into it?
Um, I don't know. We probably should just jump into it. I feel like we always try to straddle the line, and it's easier to just start the whole segment with
Yeah.
watch out for the spoilers.
So, spoilers for The Black Phone 2. Do you wanna go first?
No, you can go first.
Okay. I give The Black Phone 2 5.5 figure skating ghosts out of 10.
Huh. Um, I give it 7.8 uh Christian camps out of 10.
I want to start with some good stuff, okay? Because I know we're gonna argue about what I don't like about the movie.
So yeah, okay, that's fair. I want to know what you like about it, see what we agree. Then I'll talk about all the things I like. Then you can rebuttal me, I guess, all you want.
Yeah,
And we'll see how it goes.
yeah. I loved the acting. I thought the acting was
Yeah,
phenomenal, especially from the two kids.
carries over from the first film very well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um,
And I really liked the way they handled the Finney's PTSD from the first movie. Like the first movie didn't set up a sequel at all, but I like the way that the sequel uses the first movie to continue the story. So I will say that. And I just really liked the characters. I enjoyed the characters.
yeah, I think I remember when I saw the first one, I saw it like 2 years ago. And I didn't get a chance to rewatch it before seeing this one. I did my best to refreshen up, but it kind of just came back to me throughout watching the sequel. But you're right. I One of the big highlights of the first film was how great the, child acting was.
Yeah.
And how, they were able to play it very seriously with a lot of gravitas, because especially alongside Ethan Hawke's very like sinister, performance
Yeah.
really in that movie. And for young kids, that's always a concern. And they have obviously grown up a lot since the first film came out, and with them, their acting styles and their approaches in general have matured, and you see a lot of that maturation really manifest itself in their performances through these story threads that you mentioned, both with Finney and his PTSD, but also Gwen and everything that, with her dreams and kind of her relationship with her mother, that she really goes through a lot of coming to terms with that in this film. I think their performances really make a lot of that believable in what would be an unbelievable situation. That's what
Yeah.
sells the personality for me.
her really emotional scenes, especially at the end when she's on the phone,
Mm-hmm.
at the very end,
I love that scene.
and just or when she's screaming at Finney after she has the first night dream when they get to the camp, and she's like, "What's wrong with me? Like I feel crazy. I feel crazy," and she's screaming at the top of her lungs, and the tears are rolling down her face, and then Mason Thames is his acting during the scene where the dad shows up to the camp and Gwen accuses him of like, you're pushing it all away, you got to deal with it, you got to deal with it. Those scenes specifically stood out so much to me for an acting for these child actors on that basis.
Yeah, and I even want to say on the flip side, I mean, obviously he needs no like introduction or anything, but Ethan Hawke, I really like the Grabber actually as a character,
Yeah.
and I like his particular just approach to playing this kind of a character, especially when you consider some of his other roles in movies. Like it does display a different side of his range,
Well, yeah.
because the Grabber, as hilarious and silly of a name that is, he's actually a pretty sinister and intimidating villain, especially because of the fact that his prey is children. And just seeing like, the one thing that I really agree with Scott Derrickson, what works about this is that mask. And I think just
I love the mask.
it is a scary enough mask that when you conceal Ethan Hawke's identity behind that and the really great makeup and costume design of the film and just his kind of approach to it, like he is very terrifying and almost even more so like in death in this movie, just from a performance standpoint, just because he's more of a presence now that's lurking, that makes Ethan, in my opinion, the performance of it, like for Ethan Hawke, he's been, that physicality has been removed and now he needs to find other ways for most of the film to terrify, and does so. And so I give him credit for that.
See, I do think that he was he was more disturbing, maybe not scarier, but because yeah, you're right, he is always looming in this movie, which makes it scary because he could be anywhere. But the first one, I thought he was more disturbing, which I
I think,
liked
yeah.
because there were kind of, and this is disgusting, but this is the movie. There were some sexual undertones in the first one where he's like rubbing Finney's head and he's like brushing the hair out of his face and he's like touching him. Like they kind of just completely got rid of that in this one. And I kind of watching the first one, I always assumed that the Grabber was also kind of like pedophilic, like he was a little rapey. Like why is he kidnapping kids and then rubbing their hair and doing all this weird shit? And then they kind of don't have that in this one. And maybe that wasn't his intention in the first one. That's the vibe I got that made him even more disturbing of a villain to me because that's why I thought he was targeting
I mean,
kids.
I still get those vibes in this movie just because he's. I
This one was
mean,
just more revenge murder, like it wasn't like I'm gonna touch you, like
it's
which is
definitely
fine, but it's
it's
like
definitely more personalized. But like,
yeah,
this is the way I feel about the movie. I think that this is a cool sequel. It's just an obviously forced one.
100%.
Like, I don't think there was a naturally occurring sequel here, but I do think that they were able to manage, like, you definitely feel them force story threads that I don't think were, again, naturally occurring. But I think that the film plays around with enough interesting horror concepts and scares that this kind of change of horror, where it takes a more paranormal approach moving forward, which
Uh-huh.
is not necessarily uncharted territory before for horror film. We've seen other franchises that have started more of a slashery or more of a grounded, so to speak, approach at their villain and then alter them into a more paranormal state later on. We've seen this before. So, like, I'm okay with them playing with that idea, and it was cool and interesting enough that kept me the whole time enough. And by the way, the aesthetics of this movie that build even further upon the first one, I love the way it's shot, the way it's edited, the use of the
Oh,
8 millimeter lenses
the
for the
dream
dream
scenes?
sequences.
Yeah, dude.
Fantastic, dude. This movie looks awesome, and I
It
think it
does.
really helped create an unsettling atmosphere that when there wasn't children laughing and screaming in my ears like you, I think it did actually kind of rattle me even a little bit. You know what I mean? Because it's just the tension of the film. And I think a lot of that has to do with the presentation of it. And that is thanks to Scott Derrickson and the whole, technical team.
And I love the setting too. I always love the snow. I think it makes for such a good looking aesthetic I mean, this movie, like War for the Planet of the Apes, remember when they're just the apes in the
Yeah.
snow?
Oh yeah.
It just looks so good. Like it just makes everything pop. You know, you have the white background everywhere, everything that stands out. I love it.
And
Um,
and I think it works for this story that they're going with as well, because obviously, and this was an interesting take that I saw that I really agree with, that like they use a snowy setting because it's a ghostlier story, and he blends, like, you even look at the posters and the advertising for the film where his mask is almost like blending into the snow and ice.
yeah,
Like they are trying to kind of use that backdrop not only for the vibes and aesthetic, but for a narrative purpose, almost, of like that's where he can blend in. When you're trying to look for him and he hides in the snow, you use darkness, you're trying to do a ghost, you think the white, so like you can almost think it could stand out a little bit. I know it's silly to say, but it's true. But you use the snow backdrop, and all of a sudden, he's hiding in the wind and the cold, and like
it's
that.
cool.
The narrative play on it with the fire and ice was intentional, obviously, throughout, and that added to that theory, or not really theory, just kind of take on it. And I really appreciated all that attention to detail personally. I mean, Scott Derrickson's whole forte is horror films, so I think that attention to detail is not lost on.
Yeah, and the grabber has the best line in the movie when he says, "Hell isn't fire, it's ice."
Hmm.
Like that was my favorite line when he's on the phone.
Yeah, but then he repeats it back to, like, the bookend of Finney repeating it back to him when he's
Yeah,
about to kill him.
yeah.
I was like, damn, that's really cool. Um, I just wanted to shout this out. Did you, because I don't know how many people would actually notice this, and it's another narrative detail that's just dropped in that I happen to notice. The scene when Finney's packing to go to the camp, there's a poster, an old movie poster on the wall of his bedroom for a film that's called The Thing That Couldn't Die.
Oh, I
And
didn't
I
see
noticed
that.
that, and obviously there's a lot of, the whole narrative, plot is that uh the grabber comes back. He keeps coming back, and
Yeah.
that death, he even says himself, death is just a word. Like he knows that, and so just those little attention to details is all the difference in making a world not only feel lived in, but also making, those little connections to the plot, the little things that you can catch on rewatches later on. Like that to me is part of that experience of the film too. And I just take note of those things, and I'm like, man, like they really put a lot of care into this.
Can I get into my problems?
Sure, because my rebuttals will probably end up being some other narrative things that I liked or didn't like. So let me hear it.
Where the movie started to lose me. First of all, I'm not a fan of paranormal horror movies. I don't find them scary. I find them to be a writer's excuse to just say, like, that doesn't have to make sense because it's a ghost. That doesn't have to make sense because it's a thing I made up, like, blah, blah, blah. I don't like that. I think that's perfect for a fantasy movie because it could be like, this is awesome, anything can happen. But for a horror movie, I don't want there to be anything to happen. I want to know what can or can't happen so I know what to be scared of or what to expect or what to be unexpected. So, and I don't like it with the villains. I think the first movie does the paranormal stuff perfectly. The side characters, the dead kids, are the paranormal aspect. The main character and the villain are just regular people. In this one, the main character is now the girl, and she has these powers or abilities, and the villain is also a ghost. The movie started to lose me when Gwen is in the phone booth in her dream, and she goes, "Wait, dreams have power, I have power here," and she blows up the phone booth. Now you've established Gwen can pretty much do anything she wants in her dream, and the grabber, who I thought could only affect Gwen, later on starts physically touching people, physically hurting them. The entire movie would have been over in 5 seconds. He has an axe. Just chop all their fucking heads off. I don't like that they established the grabber can do anything he wants to any of those people at any time, yet all of them live and all of them are fine. Gwen can do anything she wants while she's in her dream thing. She can blow up a phone booth. She can do anything she wants. She could, for some reason, get scratched, but be fine underneath the ice cold water in her dream sequence. And she doesn't use that power at all besides blowing up a phone booth and going in the water. I think you've established
Well,
that
right
these
after the phone,
characters.
they pretty much kill him right after the phone booth. They don't, I
No, that
mean,
was earlier in the movie. That was earlier. He blows it up when the guy, that was right after he dropped Mondo into the water. The phone booth exploding.
Really?
Yeah. That
Oh,
was when she was in the bunk and the kid was watching over, whatever his name is, Ernie was watching over her, and she was spinning around in the phone booth getting the blood all over her. Remember that?
right,
That was
right.
that scene.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah. You're right.
that
You're
was
right.
like the
You're right.
middle of
You're
the
right.
movie. So for
That's
some
like the
reason
beginning
also,
of the third act. I don't know if
yeah,
it's not really the middle
sure.
middle.
But like you've established that the grabber can do anything he wants to any of these people, and that Gwen can do anything she wants in her dream, and that's not really used again, besides him toying with them for some reason.
He not some reason he makes it clear that that's just like that's what he wants to do. It's not just he wants to kill him. He's trying to make him fear is the beginning of his plan. You
For
know what I mean? And
Finney.
he says,
But why does he care about if this random, like, religious lady doesn't get her head chopped off? And Mondo, he tried to drown Mondo in the ice. He broke the ice with an axe. Just chop his fucking head off. You tried to kill him.
no, so he wanted to do something else. You know, he tried to kill him via drowning instead of an axe. I mean, I don't know if that's not, that is more of a character decision than a universe setting it up. Like, yeah, he can do it. This is what he wants to do. So why is he deciding to do it that way? You know, and I think that's more of a fair argument, but like, I don't think you assume every character will always make the most logical decision. I don't think that's necessarily the case.
No, I think based on what they've done in this movie, because he was going to throw her in the fire in the beginning of the movie. He was ready to kill her immediately. Why,
Yes.
why wouldn't he just do that to random people he doesn't care about, but that are helping her? Like, why did he drag that dude along the ice instead of just chopping his head off?
To scare the others and because it was fun for him.
I just think, like, when you establish that,
That
I
you
don't know.
have to do it every time?
Not every time, but I just, like, I get why he's toying with Finney and I get why he's toying with Gwen, but these random people who he also has tried to kill before.
But so what the issue that like I assume you had is that there wasn't enough collateral damage is what you're saying.
That,
Because he can create more damage, there should be more damage.
well, yes, because my issue initially is that he shouldn't have been able to physically affect any of them besides Gwen. I thought it was really interesting that he was throwing Gwen around in the kitchen at the beginning and that they couldn't stop him and that he couldn't hurt them, but he could only hurt Gwen in her dreams.
But at the time, they weren't really like he didn't care enough at the time to try and do stuff to them too. So
no, but that's
he probably
what I
was
liked.
able to affect them at the time and just
He
didn't.
he was, but because I thought he can only affect her based on that.
Right. So you just didn't
Which
like
I
the
liked.
twist that he can affect everyone.
Yes, because
But
then
why,
I'm
I
just
don't know
like, why
why.
not kill
Why
any of
couldn't
them?
he? Well, because he doesn't need to, or he doesn't care enough to. That's not his target.
But
He's
then
someone who has particular targets.
it makes me think he's
He
either
was clearly, like you say yourself, he was clearly on a revenge path this time. He was a little blinded by his goal to seek revenge against Finney and Gwen because Finney killed him and made him kill his own brother in the first movie. That's why he doesn't pay as much attention to the others until they're really so actively in his way at the end, trying to get the other kids from beneath the ice, and all of that. So, like, I do get what you're saying, but I don't think it's so much a problem of what the universe establishes as character decision, and I think he makes these decisions because he's blinded by his revenge, whereas in the first film he's alive, he's thriving, everything is going in his favor until it's not. Now he's in hell and he is angry, and he says all that's left of him is that anger and that revenge. So I interpret it personally as that's just what he's doing. And you know, he's playing around with these people. Sure, maybe there could be more collateral damage. I don't know that necessarily it changes him as an entire character for me. I have more issues with how they approach the second story here in general than I do with what his character. I understood his character's intentions actually throughout this film and how he went about it
I
from
just
his
thought,
demented way.
yeah, I just thought he was smarter, I guess, in the first one. And I guess death does something to you, right? But like in this one, he is hell bent on killing, on getting revenge. But it just made me think, like, this guy's not as intimidating. He's just making these dumb decisions. Just chop off all their heads and then torture the two you care about. Like, why I don't know, why
I think the
or do
intimidation
something like.
is the playing around and the fear,
But
though. Like
why? I don't know. Like he can.
that's what he's building in them. They're terrified, and that PTSD that Finney feels, that's worse than just the shock value of chopping someone's head off, in my opinion.
It just
Or
seemed like
like
all plot
Gwen's fear.
convenience that like he just didn't. He decided not to kill
Every
them.
movie's plot convenience at that point. Then I mean, like, you know, you can even Sinners, you could kind of do that too. But like in my opinion, that's just horror and fantasy all walk those plot convenience lines. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you know, I get what you're saying. I do. But he was a character who, you know, in the first film was a serial killer. He just picks his prey until he picks someone that obviously, like you said, we learn the story. We see this, he gets beat, and now he's seeking revenge. It changes him as a character. He's in a different realm, you know, and so, yeah, all right, his decision making might be a little different. To me, I get where they were going with this. It was almost like a very Nightmare on Elm Street approach, you know,
Yeah, it
very,
was.
very Freddy Krueger-esque. And so, I enjoyed seeing that. I don't know if I liked it more than the first. Like I said, it did feel like they were kind of pulling on these plot threads, like, oh, the mom actually didn't kill herself after all because of these this camp that suddenly exists that we didn't know from the first movie. Like those were the problems that I had with it. Not so much not so much like what they established in this movie with the realm. I found that more interesting. They were going to always expand upon that, and in a paranormal movie. It's just that they were so clearly, and I guess it's more appreciated than them just making a completely unrelated thing altogether, because there was logic in it. It's just you wish there was more of a connection of those relationships with the mom in the first movie, I think.
I want to talk about the mom. This is just a nitpick that I have, but it's kind of a central plot point. Did you notice that when the mom is hanging in the ceiling, off by the from the ceiling, it's like a 12-foot ceiling, and there's nothing around her legs. Like there was no chair that she used or no stool that was there. How did they think that was suicide? How did they think she tied herself up 9, 10, 11 feet in the air with nothing below her? Like, I just thought that was so stupid. It's just a nitpick. It's just a visual thing, but like,
I didn't notice. I thought there was something, I guess,
there
close
was,
enough to the side.
I swear to
I'm
God, there
going to
was
tell you
nothing
something,
there.
though. If you walked in on a loved one hanging from the ceiling, your line of thinking is not, where's the stool?
Right, but the police and the dad the next day or the week later, someone would be like, wait a second. You know what I mean? Like,
But that's not enough.
somebody would have noticed that. How the fuck is this even possible?
Even if they had investigated, there was no one to point it to. Like,
I know, but like the way they established it with that one shot, it was not physically possible for her to do that to herself. Like when they were like, she killed herself, I was like, oh, she shot herself in the head.
That is a crazy nitpick, in my opinion, that doesn't really affect the movie in any way.
It does, though, because you're saying that all the characters believed that she killed herself, and then I look at it and immediately I would have been like, I mean, how the fuck does anyone believe this?
I feel
it's not even physically possible for her to have done that. Like,
the room wasn't entirely empty.
There was stuff along the walls, but she was in the exact middle at like a 12-foot ceiling, because he was not even half the size of that room. Like, he was way smaller.
It was not that tall. This is like the time thing again.
No, dude. When he walked out,
I think you're exaggerating how unrealistic it would have been.
His head was at her thighs when he came out of the door.
Yeah, okay.
So she was at least like 6 more feet in the air. Like, her head was hanging 6 feet in the air.
She wasn't that tall.
I mean, let's just say she was like 5'2". That's still like, okay, so half her body. That's still 3 more feet until he gets to the top of her head.
He wasn't really at her thighs.
So that's 2.5 feet till he gets to the top of her head, and like a foot of rope. So it's like almost 4 feet.
3.5 feet, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I think like, how many points does that do you take off a rating of a movie for such a minor detail?
But like, it's not minor to me, because it makes me think that all these characters are dumb. How do you think that she killed herself? There was no possible way she could have done it.
I think you wouldn't think the way you do when you watch the movie that you would in the scenarios that the characters are in there. Like, that's the thing.
No, but I would reflect upon that moment. It's been 7 years. I'd think, holy fuck, how did she do
If
that?
you even
And the
remember
police,
it that way.
and the police would do something, man. They'd be like, how
I
did?
think it's very obvious how often, even in our real world, police miss details. Though you think
That's a
every police
huge
officer is so
detail.
good at their job, and they're just not. And so like not all of them would catch it. And again, they could maybe assume she came up by the side of the wall or something. I don't know,
She
but either
climbed the wall
way.
like Spider-Man.
No, there was like through like a machine on the
Yeah,
side
there's
or
like a
something.
workbench on the
Yeah,
side.
you know what I mean? So like I just think it's crazy that impacts. It's the same thing with the weapons thing, that the fact that it changes the whole face of the movie when it's such like a very minor thing that doesn't really have anything to do with the rest of the movie, like that there was no thing right there. Like I don't know. I think you always look at characters and how they should view things in a more narrow
No,
viewpoint than
I'm
how
not.
all different characters could view it,
I'm not
right?
even
Like
viewing it as how the characters should view it. Like the characters viewed it the way they did, and it makes me think they're all stupid because that's
no, it
how.
makes me think that they're all emotional. Their mom died. First of all, the kids aren't going to notice it. The dad's a drunk,
Well, the kids didn't
right?
see it. Yeah,
The dad's a drunk and he was emotional. So what's he going to notice? He's not thinking about it,
but not a
right?
single person said like, "Oh, she
We
killed
don't
herself."
even see the
How?
police interact with it. That's not even really a part. She died. So you sometimes, here's the thing that I think you should do with movies. Sometimes it's important to just take things at face value.
Yeah, face value. There's no physical possible way she could have killed herself. They all thought she did. That's dumb.
I don't know what to say. This is more time spent on the most minor detail than I ever thought
It's
imaginable.
stupid.
Who
Like that's like.
cares about
But
this?
Josh, would you care if she? Because there's no physical possible way she could have done that. Would you care if she had killed herself with a, I don't know, like a sniper rifle, which again would not be possible for her to kill herself with. But the
But
kids be
that's
like,
not a
she had a
realistic
sniper
way
rifle
people
in her
do it.
hand.
People don't do that. So
But
they
like
wouldn't portray that.
people don't do this and then somehow get 8 feet in the air and then tie it to that and then somehow are hanging 4 feet above that. Like it makes no sense. How
All
could she have
right.
possibly done that?
I don't know what to tell you, man. I mean, it's
It's
a
just
horror
bad.
movie.
Like who directed?
I
Scott
don't.
Derrickson directed Doctor Strange. Get the fuck out of here.
I don't. I think you're way off base, man.
Makes no sense.
Way off base.
All right, whatever.
I think you gotta change your approach. I don't know. I just think that's a really like minor. I have issues with this movie, but larger issues about how they go about the story, not just like, oh yeah, there was no bench, so the whole thing is ruined. They
But
don't even.
like,
We don't even see the police. So how do you know how the investigation went? That's irrelevant.
but they.
We
can't-
know
she
she
didn't
killed.
kill herself. Like there's no. It's so obvious that she didn't.
I wouldn't say it's so obvious. I think it's obvious to someone who's sitting in the movie theater on screen if you really are looking there in the split second that they even have it on there. I didn't pick up on that even. So it didn't matter.
Well, I'm gonna
See?
rewatch this movie eventually and then take a screenshot of it and then
And it won't matter.
and then
it
show
won't
and be
matter.
like, someone explain how she killed herself, and nobody's gonna be able to do it.
It won't matter. But she didn't kill herself, but they all thought she did because they saw her hanging and it was that. But even if they investigated it, there was not enough evidence that would conclude otherwise. So what would they do? They would have to just conclude she killed herself.
But that,
what else is there to point towards?
No,
What do you
there's
want
no
them to
evidence that
do?
she killed herself.
No, there is. She was hanging there. There's no evidence that
There's
anyone
no
else
way
did
she
it.
could have gotten there.
What other evidence would they? Who would they have then said that definitely did it?
Look for fingerprints on the ropes.
And there are no fingerprints because it wasn't a person that hung her there. So what would they find? They'd have no other choice but to conclude that she killed herself.
Just because you can't point a finger at somebody doesn't mean you just assume suicide.
The case would go cold. Eventually, they'd have to rule something on the certificate.
They'd be, she was tied here by someone we don't know who it was. She clearly could not have killed herself.
You couldn't conclude homicide.
You couldn't conclude suicide. She couldn't have done that.
So then it'd be inconclusive, but kids are going to say she killed herself. Family's going to say she killed herself.
Yeah, but the kids wouldn't believe it. The kids would be like, they would change the whole course of the movie.
Yeah, I don't think that the kids were that, I think that they're young enough that they would believe that she killed herself. What reason would they have to have ever believed otherwise?
Because it's not physically possible. And the police would
they
say,
didn't
hey,
see
there's
the
no
scene.
way. The police
they
would
didn't
say,
see the scene.
The police would say, there's no way this would have happened.
You gotta change your approach to the analyzing, man. That's crazy.
Well, okay,
I don't
okay.
agree.
But also on this subject, what's the timeline? Because I was very confused about the timeline.
4 years later.
But of her killing herself, because like
I think she killed herself
or gets killed, but like it's right after the first kid gets kidnapped. But I thought the first kid got kidnapped like a couple months before Finney.
I don't remember. I haven't seen that movie in a couple years. They don't really say there, but I think she killed herself like a I think it was like up to a year before. It couldn't have been that long. It wasn't that long.
No, but in this one, they say the mom killed herself 7 years ago.
Okay, so then
So then that means there's 3 years
3
between when the first kid gets kidnapped and Finney. Like, I was confused by that.
all right. So,
That's not a big deal.
I
I was
mean,
just wondering what you thought, like if you knew.
no, I mean, I knew that they had said it in this movie. You're right, it was 7 years. So like I mean, I like I said, I didn't really remember exactly from the first movie how long they had said. I just knew that she had done it. And that I guess so this was 3 years. All right. I guess that checks out. I don't know. I have there's nothing that stuck out to me that was like that is such a weird inconsistency. Like the things that were weird to me, like I said earlier, were just like the whole thing with the camp and this, like I appreciated them elaborating on the dreams. It was cool to see from an entertainment standpoint, but I wish I'd seen a larger relationship of the mom in the first movie to make this payoff in the second movie worth it. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
It was obvious that there was never an intention for this, because if there was, there would be more buildup of the dreams as a realm in the first place with the mom and the powers, in the first movie. So
Uh-huh.
even though like they try to base logic that most of the time works, sometimes I guess maybe not, but most of the time, okay, all right, I can buy into this. Like I just the payoff for me, like that's my criticism. It's hard for the payoff to be as impactful when, even though like I only remember bits and pieces of the first movie, I do remember that the mom really is not a huge factor in it. It's more of a plot point in the movie.
Yeah, I kind of felt like she was gone just so the dad could beat the shit out of the kids.
Which works for the first movie. Like
Yeah.
in the sense of the first movie, she's gone. She killed herself. She was having these psychic whatever dreams breakdowns. Now the dad has turned into this alcoholic drunk who beats his kids. That all narratively works in the
Yeah, it
first
makes
movie.
sense.
It's just that if there was always going to be a sequel, which there clearly wasn't, then it should have just been more of like, okay, there's more here to the mom. Maybe make us question if she killed herself or not then in the first movie, but something there. She's just more of a plot point that works for the first movie, but then you make the second movie. Now there's a payoff that I think comes across well, but doesn't work in conjunction with the first movie. That I think is my criticism of this film in a large sense, because it was just like, where was all this earlier with the mom? So,
Right. Like it's hard to go. You can't like go back and change it.
no, of
Obviously,
course
like
not. The movie
it's
is what it is.
yeah. It's hard to like try to get away from that.
So I don't know. You know what I mean though? Like I don't know.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's like they didn't set it up, so they did. This is the best they could work with.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like it's more appreciated, I think, for me than just like, random horror movie that just happens to take place in this universe but has no relation to the original. I think that works in some like franchises like The Conjuring, where it's supposed to be case files, but I
Right.
don't think it would work here because it's about a singular villain.
Yeah, you're right.
So
That's
uh
I got nothing else about this. What else you got?
that's about it. Do you think they'll make a third?
I think so. I mean, it's making money, and I like it. Like I like I really liked the first one. I didn't love it. I
Mhm.
gave it 4 stars. I liked the first one.
That's
Um,
yeah, I mean that's a good rating.
it was really good. And this one not so much, but I would totally see a third one. I like the idea of it, and I like the black phone in general, and Finney this whole movie picking up the phone. I can't help you. I can't help you. Sorry, I can't help you. Like I like that idea that these ghosts are just constantly trying to use him to get to peace. It's a very cool concept. I didn't love the second one, but I hope they make a third, and I feel like they're going to.
Like them when they're young adults or something now,
Yeah,
trying to reconcile with it.
yeah,
That could be really cool. Yeah, he's like, I'm back from super hell,
yeah. I
like
wonder if they
I don't know
do
what
the
that would
third one,
be.
would they have to get rid of the grabber? Oh, real quick, what I thought about this movie, which I thought kind of could have been a cool direction, was that the grabber was responsible. This is what I was predicting was going to happen while I was watching the movie. The grabber was responsible for those deaths at the camp, the original three boys, but he had an accomplice. and I kind of assumed that Mondo was the accomplice because they hinted at him going to jail at the beginning, and I was like, maybe he's
Yeah.
the accomplice, and maybe this movie will focus on him being the serial killer, and then like the grabber will kind of be the ghost looming over. So I that didn't happen, and it's okay that that didn't happen. It's just what I thought
No,
might have
that's
happened.
actually that was a I didn't even think about that, but now you mention it, it's true that is kind of a throwaway line that didn't go anywhere.
I did think that was weird, so that's
And it
why I
was
thought
weird because they emphasized it in Spanish too. Like that one,
like he was trying to
like they
keep it hidden from the other two.
right. And so I thought maybe it would come back, like if we could trust him or not. And then you're right, it never didn't really come back into play.
So I thought it was going to be revealed that he was secretly helping the grabber at the camp kill the first three boys, and then it's not. So I think if they make a third one, I think they have to ditch the grabber. Do like a
At
copycat or
least
do
not
a
by
secret
himself.
partner. Yeah, he can't be the solo villain again.
Yeah.
But
I
he's a
agree.
great
I
villain.
actually agree. I
Yeah.
agree. It is hard to drop them all together when Ethan Hawke's take on the grabber really is the central pull of the franchise.
Yeah, and then since
You
they've made
know,
it so supernatural, you can't really do like a copycat serial killer because the
I think you
grabber now has
could.
these crazy abilities that he was
Well,
using.
I think you still could. You know, I think tones can change throughout. You know, I don't think that they have to continue this way.
I just feel like you
Um,
got to go bigger every movie, you know, and like
I don't think so.
you don't think so?
I think you have to get better every movie.
Well,
That's
yeah,
all.
yeah,
I don't think you
fair,
always have to go bigger.
fair.
So, but that's the Black Phone. Two. Some opposing opinions, but we both had things we liked and disliked at the end of the day about
Yeah,
it. So,
it's well
if you
made.
like
It's a
that
very
kind of
well made
stuff, it
movie.
is very well made. I highly recommend checking it out, especially if you were a fan of the first one, so that at the very least you can see if you agree with me or Jack or neither of us or somehow both of us. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, that's the Black Phone. Moving on, that's just that time of year. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of our favorite just horror/Halloween things that we watched, movies or specials or like, some of your favorite memories. Because like I've been watching a ton of stuff. I know it's not always your big thing, so you haven't watched like as much horror stuff.
Uh,
But like there's a lot of fun specials out there, especially on TV shows. And that's a good place to start actually. I feel like the holiday episode and holiday special is a lost art.
it's so fun.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
it really like and I do think that really pertains to just the changing of the television format where you don't have these 21, 22 long episode seasons that come out every year.
right.
But then I think to like one of the only shows that still kind of does that, Abbott Elementary, and like they have the holiday specials, but like even we're both big Community fans, like they would do that. So
I
the
think
Halloween ones are great.
the Christmas special kind of always outshines the Halloween special, you know?
You think?
And yeah, like it's not I like depending on what the episode is, one of them better than the other, but I do think like the Christmas episode is always like the highlight of the holiday specials, you know?
I think it's like a build up, but I think the Thanksgiving specials and are out there.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that really get swept under the
Those are
rug. Like
underrated.
I think Halloween, because it's such a vast dichotomy from Christmas in terms of like joy and then spooky and horror. So I do think Halloween gets its fair share, but because Thanksgiving, on the other hand, is so similar, and I guess it's thematic core as a holiday,
Yeah.
which is true, with the hope and the joy and the thankfulness, that the specials of Thanksgiving get outshined by the Christmas specials. So I half agree with you, but I do think the Halloween ones, like I very fondly remember the SpongeBob Halloween special, the old
Yeah.
one where he shaves like the sponge off and his brain is exposed because he
Oh,
wanted to
yeah.
be the ghost at the Krusty Krab Halloween party.
Oh, that's a good one.
Or
The
like I think
Charlie
about like
Brown one.
obviously the Charlie
The
Brown one
Great
is a
Pumpkin.
classic. And I mean the Christmas Charlie Brown and the Halloween Charlie Brown, these are a great example. Those two outshine the Thanksgiving one. And I love the
Yeah.
Thanksgiving Charlie Brown special where they sit around and make like the pretzel and the popcorn and the ice cream for the Thanksgiving dinner. That's such a great special. But like the Great Pumpkin with Linus sitting out all night and
That's the
and
best
the
one.
rock bag, I would argue, yeah, that's the most iconic Peanut special,
Yeah.
holiday special that
Yeah.
is, of those like mainline ones.
100%. Yeah, and SpongeBob
Um
had some great Christmas ones too, but the Halloween ones are always so fun. Like you mentioned Community, like the, Abed dressed up as Batman, and there's the zombie one that they have in Community when all the people are like get rabies or something.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. And
It's
then they
so
like
good.
had to like swipe their memories to like not remember what
Yeah.
happened with that or
Dude, I,
something.
I I love New Girl. I don't know if you've seen New Girl.
I have.
I love New Girl, and you have Schmidt who thinks he's talking to Michael Keaton, and he's like he's dressed like the
Yeah.
giant lizard, and
Yeah.
it's so good. And again, she's dressed
Um
like Batman. Jess is dressed like Batman.
and of course there's like Friends had their classic ones.
Yeah, Friends, the Holiday
Um
Armadillo, or no, that's
yeah.
Christmas. Oh wait, what's the Halloween? Oh, he shows up as the Easter Bunny or the Pink Bunny. That's what he is.
Yes, that's when who
Yeah,
was Superman? I think
Joey was
Joey
Superman. Chandler was the bunny, and was
Bunny.
Ross the Holiday Armadillo was Christmas. Was I don't know what Ross was. Oh, he was the Spudnik.
Oh, yeah, he was
Yeah, he's
Sputnik.
the potato
Yeah.
with the
Yeah,
satellite.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Holy shit, I
Dude,
can't
good
remember. I
call.
remember that.
Good call. Yeah, that's a great episode too. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you know what's great about these holiday specials, and like you always will watch them this time of year, like The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror. You know what I mean? I
Transformers a
I haven't really
classic.
done those this year. I want to watch the new one. I don't know if it's out yet. But like it, because those are shows where it's like you really spent time with the cast, and everything. And so like it just feels like you get to have that experience with them, or just like, I don't know, it just makes for a great time.
And they
And
mix it up a
it's
lot. And I really
yeah.
like when a holiday episode does kind of like an alternate Earth kind of thing, where they're like,
Yeah.
"Let me tell you a story," and it's like the same characters, but just like I feel like a show. I can't remember exactly what show did that, but it's like it follows the same group of characters, but it's like a what if storyline, and it's like Halloween, it's scary, or it's like Christmas, and it's all this. I don't know. It's just I can't remember what it is, but stuff like that is so fun when they just do a totally different thing.
iCarly actually did that with Christmas.
Is that what I'm
I
thinking of?
remember where she was like it was when she wished Spencer was never born.
Yes,
Or
dude.
no,
That's
no,
what.
she wished he was normal.
Yeah, that
She
means
wished
Spencer's not
Spencer
there, right?
No, he was there. He was normal.
Oh,
She
oh, oh.
she wished that for Spencer to be normal,
Yeah.
and then he was normal and like everything was different, and
Yeah,
she
yeah,
ended up
yeah.
hating it.
Oh,
But that's like kind of a pretty like done archetype of a story
yeah.
of like the alternate. I mean, even like Charles Dickens' like Christmas Carol, that's what that is. The
Yeah.
three ghosts come, and Ebenezer Scrooge like obviously sees his past and present and his future realities, and wants to change, like
Do you remember on Sweet Life when they wished upon a shooting star and they got superpowers in that like alternate reality?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
dude.
yeah,
Like stuff
yeah.
like
I do.
that's so
Oh man, that's
fun.
such a good episode. So
I love when shows
um
do that.
yeah, me too. So I know you're not big into that stuff, but like I wanted to ask, what has been your favorite like Halloween or horror like thing that you've watched so far this past like year, or just in general, like some of your favorite ones growing up, like beyond the specials?
Yeah, that's a good question. You're gonna have a lot more to say about that than I
I'm
do.
sure, but I'm
I
curious. That's why before you go, because I'm curious to hear your answer. The reason I'm asking is because you're not as much into that, but I know that you have seen enough that you will have some favorites. I'm curious to see what those are.
I think my favorite off the top of my head horror is It. I think the first It movie is really good, and I actually really enjoy the second one, so I'd probably say that's my favorite horror film. I can't really think of anything that would top that. But Halloween, to me, the unanimous best Halloween movie, which might be controversial as a Halloween movie, is The Nightmare Before Christmas. I think you could argue it's a Christmas movie, you could argue it's a Halloween movie, but that is my favorite thing to watch around Halloween time.
I mean, I think the argument is dumb because it's both. I really do think it's
It is
both.
both. People are like, it's this over this. This is, and my girlfriend just showed me The Mummy for the first time, which I really liked. So that's kind of a
Which
spooky.
one?
The Brendan Fraser 1999.
Okay, I was gonna say there's a bunch of them.
Yeah.
But
So
like
that
I
was really
saw
good too.
the original. I watched because this year I've been rewatching the ones I have seen and watching some of the ones I haven't of the Universal like monster, the classic movies
Yeah,
from
yeah.
way back when. So I saw the Mummy, the one from the 1930s. that one was kind of boring, but like, there are some really good ones. And what's cool about those, like Frankenstein and Dracula and all of those, The Invisible Man, which is actually a good movie, is that a lot of them are like the bare bones versions of a lot of the classics that we see throughout, the years that came after. And so
Yeah.
it is interesting. Like, even if some of them are a little boring or dull, you'll notice something and you'll be like, even like you think of, um, like the Nosferatu movie that came out, last year, or like Renfield with Nicholas Hoult, right? Things like that, and like seeing the inspirations from the original versions, that obviously those are adaptations of the written texts, but just seeing the original screen versions, has been a lot of fun. I mean, favorite horror movie of all time is so difficult. I mean, I love The Shining, I love Get Out. Like this year, my favorite movie I've watched so far for Halloween has been In the Mouth of Madness. Is a John Carpenter movie starring Sam Neill, which actually came out in
Love Sam Neill.
1994. It's right around Jurassic Park, and he plays an insurance investigator who has to visit a town because he's looking into a disappearance of a very well-known horror writer, and the writer like has his next book that he's releasing, and the publisher is trying to find him. Um, and so he goes to find him in this small town, and he realizes that, like, um, you know, do you mind if I get into spoilers just a tiny bit?
No, no, go ahead.
Basically, like, I'm not going to talk about how the movie ends or anything, but like the books come to life. You know what I mean? And it takes on, like, it's not paranormal, but it just takes on a fantastical horror twist. It was a really cool movie. It's kind of had me change my tide on John Carpenter a bit, and John Carpenter obviously is an icon of this time of
Yeah.
year too. And I've never really been into the Halloween franchise. You know what I mean? Obviously you aren't either, I assume.
No,
But like, that's a big horror franchise that I've never been
I
into.
know, and that's one that will never end. I feel like there's always like
I know it's Halloween Ends. How many
Hal-
times has that movie come out?
Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends, Halloween 3, Halloween 5, Um so what's your not favorite horror movie, but just favorite, like, what's something, if they're like it's Halloween time, what do you want to throw on? Like, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? A show, episode, movie? What's like your
I mean,
go-to Halloween thing?
it had been Treehouse of Horrors for the last few years. I'm not doing it this year, trying to change things up, watch different stuff, because it takes time to watch all of them, so I can't do all of them. But I mean, it's what the thing about Halloween is, Christmas is a much more narrow kind of pot of films because it's movies that are about Christmas, versus Halloween. It doesn't have to be Halloween specific. Any horror
Yeah,
fits into the
right.
genre. So every year I have something new that I can go out and watch, and every year I try to not rewatch stuff really. I know I'm doing the Universal movies a bit, but I try to watch new stuff. I mean, like, the Alien franchise is an iconic staple of this time of year. The Scream franchise, an iconic staple of this time of year. Obviously, like I said, Halloween, I wasn't as big of a fan of that. Some Alfred Hitchcock movies, of course, really fall in. So, like, even if I don't watch those every year at this time of year, those would be a go-to. Like, man, these are the classics,
Yeah.
you know? And I just love everything about, like, that horror and that scary, just that spooky vibe. I have fond memories in college of me and Crosby and one of our other friends after class. Every week we'd watch a Conjuring film, or one of the Annabelle films, eventually just other horror movies. And it's a genre that actually is probably one of my favorites, just because I know you're not as into it. And it's cool because we share like superheroes and more of the nerdy stuff, and horror is something I share with some other friends. And so, just from that perspective of it, it's like, man, like, this genre means a lot to me, more than just the entertainment on screen. Because I do think, to kind of wrap up this conversation, you look at some of the horror films we've gotten this year, like Sinners and stuff, that's the genre where filmmakers can be the most ambitious, arguably.
Yeah, I could see that. It's nice to have that personal connection with the movies you're watching, you know?
Hmm.
It's kind of like you have a stake in it almost, like it means more than just a movie. which is nice.
Yeah, and like not every horror movie that I think is scary necessarily scares me. It's not always about, you know, oh, I'm scared. Is it a scary thing? Is what's happening a genuinely scary instance? Can I buy into it? Even if it's not like, oh my God, I'm scared, because I know it's a movie. It's very hard to get past that. But I can still buy into like if I can buy into the story and the characters, now I'm connected like any other genre. Suddenly the scenario becomes that much more believable for them
Yeah.
because I have that stake with the characters. So that's how I go for it, even if I'm not always scared. So I love horror. I love this time of year. You mentioned that you love it.
Yeah.
And so that makes me interested to bring up real quick about the new show coming out on HBO Max, I think like next week or something.
Uh-huh.
It
Soon.
Welcome to Derry. I don't know if you've seen the trailer or whatnot for
I saw
this.
the
Like,
first trailer. I don't know if another one came out.
there was like an official one that I don't know if you're thinking more like the teaser that is technically, a trailer, but
Yeah.
a few weeks ago they came out with like a full one, and I've seen some other stuff. This is so exciting. Cuz I love Stephen King, and this show, like from what they talked about, it looks really good. First of all, thank God Bill Skarsgård is coming back to play Pennywise. It has
Yeah.
to be
It
like
couldn't work without him.
it wouldn't work without him.
No.
His performance is like huge. It's the whole thing. So I don't know if you've seen like how it's gonna work. It's a 3-season arc that they're doing with this
3
show.
seasons? Okay.
3 seasons, and each season goes back in time further. And
Like 27 years back?
oh, I haven't, no, I don't know if
Because
that's
isn't it every
exactly,
27 years he shows up?
I don't, oh yeah, that's true. I don't know. I didn't do the math. I guess you're right.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
I didn't really do the math. It's like 1962, the first one, 1930, like 5
Okay.
for the second
Oh
one,
yeah,
and then
that's 27 years.
yeah, okay, it is. So, and then 1908, yeah. So it'll be, I think it said 1908.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I'm not doing that math, but I'm assuming it's 27 years.
Yeah, sure. So, and it's supposed to just explore like Derry's horrific history. I know in one of the trailers we saw the first time Pennywise like was in the circus, like back in 1908.
Dude, we're gonna get an origin.
And the director Andy Muschietti said it was supposed to raise the bar in terms of shock value, and it looks really good. Like in this age of studios backing so much money into television and making them like more cinematic, this looks like this could be a top tier horror show
It
for
does look
sure.
cool. It does look really cool. I don't know how I feel about like I had this problem when I was talking to you about Alien. Like I haven't seen the new Alien show, but I just hope they use Pennywise the right amount. And you said, in Alien they used the xenomorphs the right amount. I just would hate if I'm not shown Pennywise until like the end of the second episode, or you know what I mean? Like
It depends. I mean, you gotta. Also, Pennywise takes on multiple forms,
well,
many
I mean like
forms.
I
So,
just want
like,
him to do stuff.
and I'm sure he will. But even if it's like we talked about with a Black Phone too, where the grabber is more of a presence. Like, if they can make it work, where he's a presence, where I feel like he's still there, even
Yeah.
if he's not.
Yeah, I
So
would
I
like that a
agree
lot.
with you, but it has to. If he's not there, then it has to feel like he's there.
Yeah.
And
Like I just
that'll
want to
work too.
feel uncomfortable.
That'll work. That'll work because it's not all about, it's not always immediate payoff. It is that build up, the suspense that builds up, to that big moment where we get the payoff. Like that's such a big part of it too. And so as long as they do it right, then I'm on board. I'm on the
Yeah.
train.
Yeah.
So this show looks really cool, some great visuals. I'm very excited about it. It comes out like just in time for the first episode for Halloween. I wish they started it at the beginning of October
Yeah.
so I could be like watching it throughout. But nonetheless, I'm very excited for it. Welcome to Derry. And we'll be talking about it when the season ends, I'm sure, on here.
Yeah,
Are you going
definitely.
to watch it?
I probably when I get the time, I'm sure.
Yeah. And, I mean,
It's only a couple episodes, right? Isn't it 8 episodes? Something
I'm
like that.
going to take a shot in the dark that it's 8 episodes, like
Yeah,
most
8,
shows.
10. It's 8 to 10. Like it's either 8 or 10. That's how these shows work now these days.
It could even be 6, and
Yeah.
it'll be anywhere between 6 to 10, in
Yeah,
my opinion.
an even number, 6, 8, or 10.
Yeah,
Um,
facts.
well,
So that's that.
I something that's very interesting since we're talking spooky. I just want to throw this out here. You have your phone on you?
Yes. It's
Because
actually
I
almost dead, but I
oh
do.
shit, are you gonna be able to Google some stuff? Because I want you to be able to see things.
I'll try.
Okay, so the Absolute Universe is an alternate reality for DC. It's an alternate comic reality where Darkseid has basically taken away things that he deems fundamental to the heroes. So this world is fucked up. Batman. Google a picture of Absolute Batman. He is
What do I
six.
write? Just
Just
DC Absolute Batman?
DC Absolute Batman. He is 6'9". He carries a giant hammer, and he fights the most insane villains of all time. You see a picture of him?
Oh.
He's a big fucking guy. He's a blue
He is pretty
collar.
big.
He's a construction worker. Darkseid took away his rich family. They took away Alfred. They took away his training with the League of Assassins. Crazy. Now, do you want to know who he's fighting?
He covers the Batman
Yeah.
crest on his chest.
Now, do DC Absolute Killer Croc. Killer Croc is Godzilla in this universe. Just to give you, I just want to give you an idea of how these characters
Dude, look
are.
at his fingers. Oh,
Dude,
man.
Killer Croc is Godzilla. He's like, he's a giant. And then the last one I want you to look up before I just talk about them for a second is Absolute Mr. Freeze. These are the types of characters we're working with in this horror universe. He looks like Slenderman.
Oh, that is terrible. Now that's the scariest one so far.
Yeah,
the
dude.
veins are terrifying.
So this is what the Absolute Universe is. So Superman lands on Earth and he has no family. He lives alone pretty much. He lands on Earth as a child and he lives like homeless alone on the streets. They took away his family. Wonder Woman is an Amazonian. She's the last surviving Amazonian. No sisters, no Themyscira Island. She's born and raised in hell. And she's a part demon Wonder Woman. This universe is so cool. And I just wanted to ask you, because all these characters are just darker, grittier versions of themselves. They don't have the moral compasses that they would have normally. And the villains, like Absolute Joker is basically the devil. Like he's got horns and a tail. Like, I don't know. How would you feel if, like, is it too soon for the DCU to start doing other Elseworlds things besides the Batman? Like when you have such cool concepts in the comics that they can't do in the regular universe, how would you feel if they started making that stuff now?
See, I wouldn't mind. This is what I mean about like the connected universe problem. And every universe that is ever a connected universe in film and television is going to be the same thing.
Right.
It's a cool never before, like the MCU, what they accomplished was never done before on a cinematic scale that large, and it was incredible up until Endgame. But it becomes like, you know, that peak, I guess, so to speak. Like you come to the other side where now you lose the freedom to tell the cool stories like that because you want to fit it into the universe. So yes, obviously these would be Elseworlds. Do I want to see it right now? Hell yeah, I do. The problem is that things get so confusing for the average audience,
You're right.
which is the target ultimately, because and I feel like the Batman already does confuse some people as it is, because you have so many people online who
100%
push for it to be part of the Superman universe with David Cornsweet now. So I feel like, do I want to see it because I would know and distinguish the difference? Absolutely. But would it be a problem for James Gunn to try and you know, Peter Safran to try and navigate, you know, making sure everyone can distinguish the differences? I think it would be a bit of a problem because people are going to say, who are all these Batmans? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
At the same time. And I think that would confuse people. And they would say, this is part of the connected universe. This is not. This is not. Some things cross over, but they don't. You know what I mean? I just think when like Marvel brought Toby and Andrew into No Way Home and brought a different like a different take of the franchise, you know what I mean? That opened the floodgates of confusion.
Yeah,
as
cool
people
like,
as
is
it
Spider-Man
was,
1 canon to the MCU?
that's what I'm saying.
3, like,
and so now when you do that, if you have all these Batmans, it's like, what's canon to what, and this and that. it will get messy. That's
Yeah.
the only thing I would worry about. But it's so like the concepts are sick, you know?
It's horror-esque DC, and I love it. It's not like Marvel Zombies. It's like they're all still heroes, but they lose their moral compass, and the villains they fight are terrifying. They're horror monsters. Bane is like 12 feet tall. You think Absolute Batman is big? Absolute Bane is like twice his size. And I saw comments, people like, Bruce, you can retire, man. We don't need Batman. Like, dude, I would retire if I were you. You're going up against Godzilla and Slender Man, bro, and like Demon
Yeah,
Joker.
but he's also his version of that. So he's
Yeah,
very,
he's
very
fucking,
dark and
yeah,
fucked
dude.
up. And he's like, and when you think of, you know, Bruce Wayne's attitude as it is and his stubbornness, like
Yeah, man.
when you take it to this absolute level, and on this take of the character, like he's not going to give in. He doesn't
Yeah.
care that he's fighting Godzilla, you know?
No, that's what's so
That's
cool.
crazy.
It's that you could do all these crazy things with these characters and alternate things. And I just wanted to shout it out because it's a horror-esque DC comic line that's new for the last year. It just came out like a year ago is when it started. And they're still churning them out. And every now and then they'll announce like a new character. And it's really exciting to see what the version of that character looks like. So it's cool. It's very cool.
Yeah, no, that's pretty sick. So that's that. That's the DC Absolute Universe. Go check that out. I know I'm definitely gonna look more into it. So,
I've been trying to get those
um,
comics. They're hard to get these
how
days. They're
I,
popular.
I, I'm sure. Is it like do they actively write in those still, or is it like it was
Yeah.
something that was written?
No, they're still coming out. There's like
Oh,
Absolute
all right,
Batman number
cool.
10, Absolute Superman number 4. Like they're coming out constantly.
Yeah, no, that's really sick.
Yeah.
Well, that's something that's definitely worth checking out, and like you said, especially this time of year. Um, so, well, that, folks, brings us to the final segment of the day, I believe. We're not missing anything, right? I didn't go back to check.
No, I'm looking right now. We're good.
All right. Well, before we sign off, we have to seesaw things, chop it up.
Yeah, we do. Yeah,
Um,
we saw that shit in half.
we're just sawing right through these fucking films and shows or
Yeah, dude.
whatever we're bringing to the table. So, who's going first today?
You take it away. I did the review first. Saw you, bro.
All right. You know what? Thank you.
I
That's
got you, man.
courteous. Well, something that I saw recently was a terrible, 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 terrible film, but it was so funny that I just got to talk about it briefly, called Killer Sofa.
Yeah, okay.
Um and it was on my watch list, and I only watched it because it's, you know, Halloween season, and I'm curious the premise. First of all, it's not a sofa, it's a fucking recliner. It wasn't even a sofa, all right? But second of all, this movie's obviously so bad, and it's hilarious, and it's supposed to be funny, but the character, what part of what makes it bad, not only is like you watch it and the quality is genuinely like C-list quality, just the style of acting, that's that over exaggeration, and you know, just like the kind of cheapness of the filming
Yeah.
in a but not in an endearing fashion. Um so it's bad, and it's literally what you think. Basically, a chair falls in love with a woman. It's this haunted chair, and it starts a killing rampage to be with her. And then some like rabbi that's been studying on the cult behind it, like, has to team up with her to stop the chair. And there's investigators, and they're really not good at their job either. And it's terrible, but there was a couple of scenes that are just so funny. If you ever get a chance to look them up on YouTube, just because it's so absurd. The chair, the way it like peeks around the corner, and like the way they actually like have it with the like, because they give it buttons kind of in the middle where the indentations are, and like make the indentation look like a frown kind of on the backing of the chair, and so it makes it look like a face. And so the way it like has reactions, there's one scene where like the main character's friend is going to the apartment to get something for her, and she walks in on the chair disposing of a body, and you see the chair kick up its recliner to kick the body off the balcony and then like shove it like
The
with
fuck
like
is
the
this
top.
movie,
It
bro?
was it's so stupid to actually see happen. And then she drops like a clothespin on carpet. I don't know how anything would hear that. And then it cuts back, and the chair's just facing her so menacingly. And then towards the end, it's like the big final fight scene, and the main character is like dumping gas onto the chair. First of all, she's fucking dumb as shit. She doesn't know how to like dump gas onto a chair. I feel like you watching this, but like this is something you would say, but it's actually justified in this sense.
Okay, yeah.
No, dude, she dumps gasoline onto herself while she's trying to dump it onto the chair.
It's a
Come
character
on.
decision, man. She's dumb. That's what she
Yeah,
does.
you know, she is dumb though. I will say that her character is actually just
She's
dumb.
fucking dumbass.
She is actually a dumbass. And then so she pulls out matches to try and like light the chair on fire. And the chair like leans forward and just it goes like that. Literally, you see its mouth move, and the match blows out, and she's like crying. She keeps doing it over and over, lighting the match and just holding it there instead of just chucking it at the chair. Which then the chair might still been able to blow it out, but she didn't even try. You know what I mean? So
Where
like
do
we
you
don't even
find
see
these
that.
movies, dude?
It was on Amazon Prime.
Oh my god, of course.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos made it. So, that's Killer Sofa. It was hilarious, bad but hilarious. So that's something I saw. Something I want to see is just a bunch of shows that I love that have new seasons that are already out or coming out, like Abbott Elementary, The Diplomat, Gen V, and The Morning Show, like are all like on my list. I just haven't had time, but they all have new seasons out right now that I want to get to. Even Only Murders in the Building, I started season 5. I only watched 2 episodes. It's been like weeks. I need to get back to it. So, just a bunch of shows that I love, you know, on a scale of how much I love, but I love that I want to see their new seasons. I haven't had time to watch them yet. So hopefully in the next coming, you know, months, I'll be able to get to at least some of them. That's something I saw and something that or a bunch of things I should say that I want to see coming up.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I started Gen V. I watched 1 episode and then I kind of forgot about it. I need to get back into season
Yeah, I haven't
2.
even started season 2 yet, so I have to eventually do it.
Something that I want to see. I sort of saw it. I want to see it. I watched the first episode of The Studio. I will tell you that I didn't like it at first because the camera work was giving me a headache immediately. Like just constantly the one shot take was just really bothering me, making me dizzy. And then I got used to it and I was like, okay, I can get through this. And then, it's a long first episode. The rest of the episode's like half an hour, but the first episode's like an hour. And then by the end of the episode, I was like, I really want to continue this. Like I really liked it. And I just needed to get used to the camera work because it was a little weird and new to me. But I did really enjoy the first episode as a whole.
Yeah, and you know, with the camera work, I'll just say, like, it's a purposeful choice. You know, I talked earlier about how some of these things, like, it's supposed to help replicate that frenetic environment.
Yeah, and I think it
does.
Make me dizzy, and I was like, holy shit, I can't take this.
I think I understand how that would be physically demanding on you, but at the same time, you should look at that and say, yeah, okay, you got to definitely pause for a minute, but also that it's kind of working, I guess.
Yeah. No, it does work, because afterward, once I got used to it, and I was like, okay, this is fine, whatever. And then I was just watching it, I was like, this is great. Like, I really liked it. Bryan Cranston's character is fucking hilarious, first of all.
Yeah,
like, he's so funny.
And just wait till you see everyone, and Martin Scorsese too.
He's in the first episode.
Fantastic,
dude. Crying in the first episode.
He's like they didn't want his Jim Jones movie.
Yeah, his Kool-Aid movie.
Yeah, he's like, we'll call it Kool-Aid. Man, dude, just wait till you see everyone else that's in the season. It's so packed with stars.
So far, it's great.
Yeah,
I'm only on episode 1, but I'm about to start the second one. And something I watched, I couldn't remember if I used this for a seesaw. I don't think I did. I think I had it for my C. But something I saw is I finally watched Pirates of the Caribbean 4 and 5.
I think you did use this, but
did I? No, because I just watched. Oh, I watched Pirates of the Caribbean 4, and then so my 5th one is my Saw, because I never used the 5th. I watched the 5th one, I think, last Tuesday or something.
I think you also said you wanted to watch these. You used it for a C at one point, so now it's my Saw.
So now it's my Saw. So I finally watched them. The 4th one sucks, genuinely sucks. The 5th one, everyone hates it. I kind of liked it. Have you ever seen those?
No, I've never seen the 4th and 5th. I've only seen the originals.
Do you care about spoilers?
Nah, not really.
I'll tell you how the 5th one starts.
I mean, I might eventually get to it, you know.
I won't give you crazy spoilers, but the 5th one...
I don't mind minor stuff. Yeah, minor stuff.
The 5th one starts with a kid who's trying to drown himself in the ocean, and then as he ties rocks around himself, and then he starts sinking, and then a ship shows up in the background underwater and scoops him up. And it's the Flying Dutchman. And that was some of the most hype shit I've seen in a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, because you see Will Turner's back. And everyone knows Will Turner's in this movie for a couple minutes, but like, that's his son who's trying to drown himself because he just wanted to see his dad. But imagine being in theaters and you haven't seen Will Turner since 2007. He wasn't in the 4th one. The fourth one has nobody except Jack Sparrow and Barbossa. In this one, imagine seeing the Flying Dutchman show up for the first time in like 10 years because it's a 2017 movie. The hype in theaters must have been insane.
In
So
an age where not every single little news nugget was
yeah,
spoiled ahead of time.
yeah. Like seeing that was awesome, and watching Will Turner's son interact with Jack Sparrow was really fun. And of course Johnny Depp, he's he's good, but I guess it's a character decision. Like Jack Sparrow's like just a drunk loser in this one. And I can't really see his character being like that. Like he's always drunk and a loser to people, but in reality, he's doing cool shit, you know? And he's smart, and he acts like he's dumb, but he's smart. In this one, he's just dumb. And I think it just loses the magic of the first three. The fourth and fifth just don't have that magic. Um, so they're not as good. The fourth one sucks. The fifth one's pretty good. It's okay. It's okay. And the first three are goated. And that's what I saw. All the Pirates of the Caribbean's finally done, and I'd love for them to come back because they could make a million more of these. All the supernatural shit that they do, it's a lot, but I would love it. They won't, but let's
The
see.
franchise has been on and off with production hell for years with Disney. I mean, there are plans right now, something in motion, but I mean, until they really get on the ground running with something, more concrete, like a
Yeah,
script and, a director and
they kind of shot themselves in the foot by making them reliant. It's such a great world that they built with Davy Jones and the Kraken and ghosts and gods and goddesses. It's so fantastical. They shot themselves in the foot. It was a good idea and a bad idea to make it central, to make Jack Sparrow the main thing. Jack Sparrow is the reason anything happens. He's connected to every single thing that happens in any of these movies. It's because he made a deal with a ghost 20 years ago. It's because he killed this guy 30 years ago. He did this. So when Johnny Depp doesn't return, they just can't continue without him. You know,
Mhm.
they really made themselves too reliant on.
Yeah, ultimately, when you have a franchise that's character driven, that
Yeah,
has the central point. Um, Unlike Star Wars, where like people are like, yes, the main character of the story of Star Wars is Anakin, but Anakin's not the main character of the original trilogy,
yeah.
and
Like you can
so
do so much in Star Wars without following that one character. You
right,
can't do
but
that with
yeah,
pirates.
exactly. So I totally agree. The last thing, like nugget that I didn't even remember until you talked about like 2017. Imagine seeing the Flying Dutchman for the first time, because isn't it annoying how like everything gets spoiled, like every big reveal or surprise I feel like you see ahead of time, like, and this is the most recent one, unfortunately. They said that there was supposed to be this high profile celebrity who was voicing the Cowardly
I
Lion
saw
in
that
Wicked
today
for
too.
Good. And I was like, oh, cool. We're not really going to know until like the movie comes out. That's a sick like surprise. And then pretty much immediately, they're like, oh, it's Coleman Domingo. Like they announced that it's Coleman Domingo, which is cool. And I'm really interested to see like how his take on that. But I just,
Yeah,
why are you telling us now? You know what I mean? Like that's something that I feel like
I know that would have been a
that was
cool
supposed to be a
reveal.
cool reveal, and you even were hyping up the reveal only to reveal it like a month before, like over a month before the movie comes out. Still, like it's kind of asinine to me. I just hate that they do that. I wish it was like similar to what you're saying with hell years ago. First of all, where you imagine finding out for the first time Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's dad, probably shit your pants.
Just jizz
But
everywhere
like
immediately.
actually wouldn't even know how to react. But then like the same thing, seeing the Flying Dutchman, not knowing like when he would show up, if he'd show up, like that's cool. So I just think like I hate seeing that.
Yeah, me too. But it was awesome seeing that. Um, so that's the episode. Thank you everyone for watching, and we love you all, whoever's watching this. And anything else?
Make sure you follow us on all the social medias, Spotify, Instagram, TikTok, fucking, you know, AOL, if you somehow
Yeah,
still have that.
follow our Gmail.
We don't, but you can make it. Yeah, send us emails if you want, I guess. Follow us on Letterboxd. Share with your friends and fellow film lovers. And we appreciate every one of you. Please keep sharing because we definitely want and need the support. Jack, why
Yeah,
don't you take us home?
comment numbers,
Take
film
us home,
film Bible
crypto. Oh
Bible
yeah.
study numbers, and crypto. What the dog doing?